Time to wrap it up this March the 12th. Man, I can't believe it's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. The weekend's almost here. Whew. Things do move in a hurry. Okay, we came in this morning and we liked the buy side. We had a 35 to 37 buy, and that turned out to be the trade after this morning's news. We said this morning 44.45 was very, very aggressive. And then we did like the sell on the 50 area. And you can see the 50 area held through about 11 o'clock Eastern, 11:20 Eastern. But we were dealing with a P, and the market was going to trade higher. On our last update, we said that, again, if you had to make a trade at the market, it would be from the long side. And we've been saying since we got above 50 right here, as long as the market stays above 20.50, the trade is from the long side. Short covering, new buying, the numbers this morning were pretty bad for the retail sales. We're already seeing downward revisions for first quarter GDP. So the news is bad enough that the Fed can't raise interest rates sooner rather than later. They'll be raising them later rather than sooner. Don't know when the Fed's going to raise interest rates. The best guess especially after Friday's news was it'll be done in June. So here's where we sit. But again, the analysis to be a buyer at 35, 37 in anticipation, if they couldn't crack the lows early this morning, early in the session, to short covering rally. Then when the news hit this morning, it was bad. It was right here. We said the news is bad enough. Fundamentals say you should go lower, but that's not the way this market works. The worse the news is, the better it is for the E-mini. And look right here, just right off the opening, this is the Fed making sure the bottom doesn't fall out of the market. It doesn't. It rallies up. Right here was long liquidation, the peak for the 50 lot, and ever since then, this trader has been on the long side. So Fed support definitely early right here. And large players and or Fed from this point on out. So again, first trade of the day, the assessment of the market, our levels, if you'd taken the trades, would have worked in your favor. So we had a pretty good day in the E-mini, even though the news was bad. Ironically, these days, if the news is bad, the market is more likely to rally. Now, we have an outside day right now that usually yields a trading range off of our F1 screen. Looking at the F2 screen, it's going to be a P. And we have, come over here, how do I do my splits? Go to the longest line of letters, left click. There you have it. So next good resistance will be 65, then 78 structurally. And you can see the 65 area right here. There's your split. So market is pointing higher. If it were to close right now, we'd be selling failure to take out 58 to 60. And for the overnight session, we'd be trying to buy, we'd like to buy the 50 to 52, but 53, 55 would be buy one. Then 50 to 52 would be buy two. We do have news tomorrow, PPI. Up 1/10. Core PPI up 0.2. And Michigan sentiment at 95.8. Best number for the stock market will be the Michigan sentiment. I don't think anybody pays a lot of attention to PPI. The Fed is praying for inflation so they can cut their debt obligations by half over 50 years and bring back the real estate market and keep it strong because housing values are going up. Now, one of the reasons the Fed is so keen on raising housing values that before this last recession, for most of the United States, their net worth, their equity in their houses was close to 50% of their total equity position. So it's a pretty big number if you think about it. Under this administration, for the last 6 years after this last recession, the average earnings and wealth of the average American has gone down. That doesn't happen since the Depression. So, and ultimately, it gets back to tax and industrial policy. The economy is tax and industrial policy, and ours has become more restrictive and more onerous under this administration than it was before. And they're reaping the rewards of that. Okay, very, very strong market. As far as treasuries go, higher, lower, higher, high. This has got us a buyer. Post-auction day, I'm looking for a pause day. I'm looking for a sideways day tomorrow. Don't have a lot of news that'll kick stuff off, but the big players that wanted cash securities of 3, 10, and 30 years are satisfied. The dealers that manipulated the market and did all sorts of shenanigans to move as much paper as they could need to balance their books. So the two biggest components of the market are sidelined come tomorrow. And if there's not a major piece of news scheduled, and there isn't, the market usually trades sideways. Okay, off the auction, the market got down to 26.30, then a low of 27.01. We're at 06. So we're going to make 01 to 29 our buy on the hopes that the E-mini strength will take us lower so we can get it advantageously tomorrow. May take a 5 to get in. I don't know. We're going to try for 29s to 1s and then 21s to 25s for buy 2. On the last rotate up, like we said earlier, don't know whether resistance is 12 to 16 or 8 to 12. I'm going to guess it's 12 to 16 just off the shape of this distribution. So we're going to leave the sell at 11 to 15 and then 19 to 23 where we had it. In the overnight session, if we fail to get through this 8 area and take it out, you can get short in anticipation of a retest of the buck. So for those that are going to trade London time, we're going to put 27.08 is an area for you to pay attention to. Okay, this morning we liked the long side of the market. Had to pay. We actually were able to get in and fill in the 1 to 5 area that we liked in Z period, and we had sells 11 to 15 or 19 to 23. The news was very supportive, so our number 2 sell zone was the one that stopped the market, which is what you'd expect. And so we did a really, really good job of calling this market. We also guessed that if retail sales had a pretty good chance of coming in lower than forecast because most of the macro news that has come, macro news these days does come in lower than forecast. And that leads to interest rates staying where they are right now. Okay, bottom of value is 18. Last rotate down stopped at 11.13, so 9 to 13 is buy 1. And then 1 to 5 is buy 2. 23 is where this rotate up, L period high at the buck, so 27 to 31, sell 1. And then we'll make 60.03, 60.07, sell 2. And if the E-mini is selling, we do not want to be short. It looks like the E-mini is going to rally, so I think we do have a short in the overnight, but I don't expect they'll bust the market tomorrow for reasons previously stated. Okay, gold, we like the short side of the market. We wanted to get short basically at 60, give or take a little bit this morning. And you can see the 58 to 60 area, which is where we had our called short, held up really, really, really well. So that's where resistance is. So 58 to 60, sell 1. And we'll make 64, 66, sell 2. On the buy side, 45, 47, let them get stops below that, and it is a B. and then our 40 to 42. It's amazing how pervasive propaganda is. I was watching a mindless, dumb market movie last night. Definitely mindless and definitely dumb. And the whole story was about corporations in the evil West. They didn't specify Europe or the United States. Were exporting through coercion toxic industrial pollution to be put into the Ukraine, this pristine country that has really run by greenies and the rest of it, and they were being held over the barrel. But the storyline that is put out, I mean, just everywhere these days, it's just one and the same. And most of it is nonsense. Okay, crude is headed lower, so we'll make 46.50, 75 by 1. And the idea will get a little bit lower tonight, and then 46 even, 46 and a quarter for buy 2. I really like the short side better, but I don't spend a lot of time thinking about what if crude doesn't go lower. If I get the signals to go long, that's just fine too. 47.50 to 75, sell 1. Now, I'm circling this area right here for those in the overnight session. If we can't get through this 47 and a quarter, you want to be short. You got single prints here, you got that low. The next break in the market is up in this area, basically at 48. So we will see what happens. Then sell 2 will be picking up this area, 48, 48 and a quarter. You know, if I were in ISIS, I would just be fit to be tied. They don't allow me to, say that I'm an Islamist. They don't allow me to say that I'm, faithfully practicing Islam. They tell them this is what we are and how we do it, and they take that name away from us. They're telling us we're just a group of bad apple terrorists that are using Islam to do it. But it's just amazing to me how pervasive just all this word fixing is and political correctness and you really are sticking your head in the sand. You are ignoring a lot of what's going on around you. And one of the things that really makes trading very, very difficult for people that have very, very strong belief systems or it's their idea and nobody else's too. So they're too rigid. They can't see reality. All they can see is their idea, and they will defend that idea to the death. And that causes big losses in trading. So you really have to, in trading, you really do have to be able to see what's actually going on. And that's difficult for that mindset. Okay, 25 to 35, sell 1. We'd like to get in and pick up this area in here. Then basically 106.50 for sell 2. On the buy side, we've got the single print down at London. We've got this last rotate down at 89. Obviously, we've got to get through the buck to get there. So let's make 80 to 90 buy 1. And then we'll pick up the bottom of it down here, 50 to 60 for buy 2. I really don't like the long side of this market. I think the only time you should get long in the euro is when you're covering a short. I mean, not to say that the market can't rally because it's rallied a great deal over the last day and a half. But the time is on your side if you're short. Now, that doesn't mean that you'd be down a couple of $1,000 if you had at one point, or almost $2,000 if you'd ignored your stops. So you got to keep your losses small and the rest of it. But these 1.5 to 2.5 point rallies are really opportunities to sell. Yeah, it's JR. It's just critical thinking used to be something that we take, and I had to take logic of all things. I couldn't imagine kids today having to take logic in school and college, and the ability, and I see it all the time. I hear it in the language. I mean, I'm married to an adverb cop, a grammarian, an English teacher, and she will definitely tell you I don't speak the King's English, but my God, some of the stuff that comes out of these kids' mouths right now, they don't speak the King's English, haven't been taught it anywhere. So what in the hell are they doing in school? I mean, as an employer, it makes it really, really tough. So that's what we got for this March the 12th, 2015.